Welcome to today's podcast. Here's a question to get us started. What do the War of 1812 and the Russia-Ukraine War have in common? Both are stories of ambitious nations trying to annex their neighbors, only to face fierce resistance and unintended consequences. Let's break it all down and see what lessons history has to offer. Why did America go to war in 1812? On paper, it was to stop the British from impressing American sailors and interfering with trade. But there was another goal: annexing Canada. Many American leaders believed it would be an easy victory. Canada was sparsely populated, and they thought the settlers there would welcome liberation from British rule. But how wrong they were. Instead of cheering Americans as liberators, Canadians, alongside British troops and Indigenous allies, fought back with determination. Battles like Queenston Heights showed the flaws in the American plan. One key figure, Lieutenant Colonel Winfield Scott, was even captured by the British. By the war's end in 1815, the U.S. gained nothing. Around 15,000 American soldiers died for a goal they never came close to achieving. Canada's identity, however, was strengthened, and the bond between Upper and Lower Canada became even tighter. Now let's fast forward to the modern era. What about Russia's invasion of Ukraine? Wasn't it supposed to be a quick victory too? Russia expected to seize Kiev within weeks, overthrow Ukraine's government, and bring the country back into Moscow's sphere of influence. But like America in 1812, they underestimated their opponent. Ukraine, with international military aid and a united population, mounted a fierce resistance. The war has dragged on, and Russia is now bogged down in a costly and protracted conflict, just like America's failed campaign in Canada. What are the parallels between these two wars? Both show the dangers of starting a war without a legitimate cause. America thought it could easily annex Canada, just as Russia believed it could reclaim Ukraine. Both aggressors underestimated the strength of nationalism and the power of alliances. And both wars had unintended consequences. The War of 1812 unified Canada, while Russia's invasion of Ukraine has solidified Ukraine's identity and strengthened NATO. So what about today? Could a foreign power push the U.S. to pressure Canada into becoming the 51st state? It's an interesting thought. Historically, France played little role in America's 1812 ambitions. Napoleon was too busy fighting Britain in Europe. But in today's globalized world, could countries like China or Russia try to disrupt U.S.-Canada relations for their own gain? Perhaps. China might exploit trade disputes or Arctic resource issues. Russia might try propaganda to weaken Western unity. But let's be realistic. Canada and the U.S. share one of the strongest partnerships in the world. Economic pressure or annexation is a fantasy that would crumble under the weight of resistance from both sides. So, what's the takeaway here? Whether it's America in 1812 or Russia in 2022, wars of annexation often fail. Ambitious nations underestimate the challenges, misjudge the will of their opponents, and face backlash that strengthens the very forces they aim to suppress. History keeps reminding us, it's not easy to redraw the map through force. Thanks for tuning in to today's episode. Don't forget to subscribe and let us know in the comments if you'd like us to explore this topic further in a full 10-minute deep dive.